Welcome everyone to a Season 5 returning and new player guide from Archon Imperium, a house on North America. I'm going to go ahead and go over a few things that we plan to cover. We're going to go over units, both beginner units, common territory war units, and budget units that you can always turn a profit and perform well in a match. In addition to that, we're going to go over wars, territory wars, and how they function. An explanation of season mechanics. This is Season 5 after all. An explanation of the world map, Fief quests, the server status, houses and alliances and how they function, and of course the cohort. We're also going to go ahead and touch on how to craft personal gear, kits for your units, what to buy in the season store, some siege equipment, everything like that. So once again, this is a guide from Archon Imperium here on North America from Ignis. Hopefully it's of some use to you if you're getting back into the game or joining us for the first time. Let's go ahead and kick this off with a season explanation. So this is the 5th season of Conquerors played. And to kick it off, we're going to go ahead and take a dive into what's called campaigns. These are step-by-step, let's call them quests. So you come in here, when it started, you just had to take part in 2 Fief battles in either zone. You got some rewards. Think of these as miniature quests. But honestly, if you get them, great. It's a small amount of bronze. It's just, 40,000 there. Not a big deal. You work with your house to achieve these, and you'll get some small bonuses. Aside from that, campaigns also show where you can currently fight and contest for land for your house. We'll come back to that topic later. Up next, we have weekly challenges. These are things that will give you miniature quests you also get to do. For example, Master of the Horse, in field or siege battles, 2 of the game modes, use units from Cavalry Tree to deal, 200,000 damage. And for that, I get 2,000 glory. Now, glory is basically Battle Pass XP in any other game. You should be familiar with that from, Apex or any other game you play with a similar pay model. So this is Season 5. You mainly get glory from completing matches, leveling up, and doing these quests. Or you can also pay for it, obviously. Going on to the Battle Pass. This is a paid $10. If you unlock it, you get all the rewards up top, plus some on the bottom. We're not going to deep dive into the Battle Pass. You can take a look at that on your own time. Needless to say, it is beneficial to have it. If you can afford it and you like the game, go for it. Okay. Then there are also unit challenges. Now, these are different for every season. This season, you can earn the Stalwarts, or the Paladins, or even the Flame Boys. We don't talk about the Militia, they're a terrible unit. In addition, you can go back to previous seasons, and you can see that you can still earn these season units. Once again, to do that, you go ahead and you click on that, and you click on the season you want to see. As you can see, I've earned most of these, but not all of them. Conditori, Forbertino, I call him Frat Pikeman, Pavis. The Maul class is found in Season 3. Season 4 covers a different type of unit. You just come through here and you do them at your leisure, whatever you want to prioritize. Okay, that basically covers the season itself. Those are the season unit challenges. Let me click on one of those so you can really see what it's about. So when you pop into a season challenge, you'll have to do 8 of these 10 things to unlocking the unit. The different stages give different rewards. I had to do 8 submissions to get a contract for the Men-at-Arms, 8 submissions to get a Doctrine, so on and so forth. Do them. They're pretty easy. If you're having difficulty on some of them, you can use Sovereigns to pay them off, but I recommend get them as far as you can yourself. Don't just throw money at the game. Even if you can afford to, do a few matches, get some progress, you get like 50-60% off in just a few quick matches. It's really not worth just throwing money at it. Okay, so that does cover everything that is really important in this menu, at least. We'll come back to the season store once I've given some more information on the crafting, because it's very important. So coming up to our next point, we're going to talk about quests, the open world, and let's see here. Yep, just quests in the open world looks like for my next point. So, there are quests in this game. They are daily quests. Let me go ahead and pull up my quest log. I've already done a few of them. You will pick up most of these from guys in town. For example, the sheriff here gives some quests, so does the warden, and I believe the belaying officer gives the rest. You're going to have a daily quest to score victory in a match, to get 3 matches done and 5 matches done. Really self-explanatory. You just come in here, you do 5 matches, you'll win one. You get bonus honor, some doctrines, and as you can see here, XP for yourself, bronze, honor, house XP, and then prestige. We'll get to that in just a moment. So those are the daily quests. In addition to daily quests, this season we have what is called the path system. This really guides the new player experience this season. If we come in here, there are pretty easy things to do in here, like, fight a matched battle. Then you get 10 unit XP cards, which level your units. Win a matched battle. Fight in 3 battles, Really simple things to do. Unlock and recruit serfs, Spear Militia. Just, read through these. They're pretty easy to do. And you get some bonus items as you continue along, including some sets of armor. And once that is done, you will actually progress onto the Path of Faith. Now, there will be a mission for you to do like a cinematic to progress to the Path of Faith, but it's super easy. Don't sweat it. From here, you just continue, doing this as quick as you can. Go out of your way if necessary, but it's pretty simple stuff. It guides you through some of the beginning parts of the game and gets you, free units. So like right there, that's a free blue tier unit. That's an extra horse. That's a good weapon box. Some extra treatise. We'll get to treatise in a moment. We're talking about units. And you just keep going, and eventually you will actually get a couple free units. You'll get a free blue tier, I believe a free epic unit as well. And finally, you'll end up with a free golden era unit at some point during this massive chain. Now, somewhere along the line, it does get a bit harder, like getting MVP, but the rewards scale appropriately. So, pretty good stuff there. In addition to that, part of the daily quests, I haven't done them yet, let me pull them up, are to do collecting, scavenging supplies, gathering from a resource site, killing bandits in the world, and then to do a Fief quest. So, to do Fief quests, go to the Fief you want to do them at, you click Overview, Fief quest, and right here you can see that I have the things to turn this in. So all I would simply do is hit Complete Quest, and I would get the honor for it, popped up 130. And of course, I also got a kit, Squire kit. Not something I really need, but it's there. In addition to that, to leave the city, to go out and gather resources for crafting, and to accomplish, the other goals here, we're going to go ahead and leave Fief. It will select your warband. You can build as necessary. Serfs are the best ones for gathering. I tend to run with 4 serfs and 1 military unit. Alright, as we load out into the open world, you'll see that I have my Raton Rangers, my chosen military unit, and my 4 band of serfs. And we would just walk over to... Oh my, that music is loud out here, isn't it? There we go. For example, if I could gather at this Imperial logging camp, I would just roll up to it and click gather. There should be an intro quest that will guide you through this, but just in case you're lost, come out to here and you would just hit gather. I can't gather anymore because I've already done the quest. But if you look on the map, you can see that, let's just say there's a marble quarry right there. If I need marble, I just, path over to it. I go collect it. These are the abandoned crates for the quest Lost and Found. Natural wealth is done by collecting every day. They don't give super great rewards. I'll be honest, you don't need to do natural wealth and gathering every day and coming out here. It doesn't take long. It is free bronze. But a pretty small amount, 500 here, 500 there, 500 there. It's not a large amount. If you compare it to 5 battles, it gives 2,000 bronze and honor and house XP. It's not a super important thing if you're a solo player, just casual. It's not fantastically important. Okay, so we're heading back to Turo Varos right here. Make sure I covered everything under quests. Open world breakdown. Oh, one thing you do need to be aware is that you can attack and be attacked in the open world. So directly around the capital, there's this blue safe zone where no one can touch you. You can't touch anybody. But as soon as they cross that wonderful barrier, you can click on them, and I won't be able to do it here because we're in a safe zone, but you can hit pursue, and then you can intercept them, kill their warband, and take a portion of what they got. You'll get some of the unit kits for what you kill, and you'll take a portion of their loot, anywhere from 10 to 50%, depending on how you did. And up to 5 people can join either side. It's called fielding. There is a weekly quest for it. So, now to branch on to weekly quests, let's go ahead and take a look here. So those are the daily quests. These are what we call the weekly quests. If you just click in here, you kind of look around, see what you got to do. There's expeditions, a PvE game mode, clearing out rebel camps, which can be found on the open world. Those are a 3-man team minimum. You go there with your house, you clear them out, you get some free stuff. Winning field battles, joining death matches, yada yada. You can just take a look in here. It's pretty easy stuff to do. Deploy 5 artillery pieces, kill 100 troops using artillery. Side note there, trebuchets count for that. So even if you don't want to spend a bunch of money on artillery, just use your trebs. It'll count for the kill 100 troops. Loyalty missions. Anyway, so you get the idea. You get the points for doing the mission. It progresses on this bar here. At 25 points, you get a page's gift. At 50 points, so on and so forth. In here you'll find vault keys, which are useful for opening vaults from matches that give you silver. Fragile skill books, which is great for learning your ultimates, treatise, and items to boost your season level. In addition to that, if you pay them premium, then you get vault keys, which are just more vault keys. That's all it is. You get the idea. More vault keys, more silver. It's definitely worth the subscription if you play this game. You'll also get more rewards from battles, faster XP, more bronze. If you really like the game, do it. It does make it a lot easier, but it is not necessary to be competitive. But it does make it a lot easier to maintain your troops. Okay, so we've talked about the open world, weekly quests, personal quests. Now let's talk about the one of the rewards we saw in there. One of the rewards you see in here is called House XP. So, House XP. You have your personal level, which if you hit P, will be right there. Doesn't really give you XP for doing these missions, not a whole bunch. So, if you hit N and you're in Archon Imperium, like everyone in NA should be, you'll see that there is House XP, and this helps level your house. Your house level determines what cities and villages you can attack. It used to determine more, but not so much anymore. In addition to that, when you are a good house member and you do your daily missions, you will also see that we get prestige from this. Prestige is used for declaring war as a house, for building field camps as a house. It's basically used for territory wars. That's all it is. So if you're in a house, if you can do all your dailies, your guild leader, your housemates will love you for it. That just makes sure you can declare war as necessary and continue to play the game as a house. Okay, so let's talk about the benefits of a house system. By joining a house, you gain access to what's called house funds. These are stipends, which means depending on your rank in the house, you have access to funds. These funds are raised through house quests. So you have your member tab here, then you have the house quest tab. These are like general that is competed when anyone do anything. And these are individual quests for you to do with a group of your mates. If you do so, this reward, this one goes to your inventory. This one goes to the house funds. Okay, so you'll get if you were to be in a group with a couple of your house or cohort guys, you kill 600 troops as a group. You get 8 free unit kits, and your house gets 20,000 bronze. Sounds good. Easy stuff to do generally. Most houses will group up and knock this stuff out. In addition to that, let's go back to the stipend. So a stipend works. It's set by your liege or sentinels to what? Let me pull up our stipends real quick. Ours are pretty low right now. But stipends you can set and see how much each rank has access to per week. So, when you go to repair units, and we'll talk about this more later, see how it says use house funds first? Rather than pay for the kit with bronze, I could have my house pay for it. This is a good way for houses to help new players, so they don't have to worry about bronze loss in matches. It's more forgiving for them. So this is just money set apart for people who participate in territory wars or new players to kind of, guard against the cost of war or to help new players really grow. I should probably resupply my guy anyway. Okay, so we've gone over houses and alliances. Let's touch on alliances real quick. So alliances are basically just when houses choose to work together. You can take land together, defend together, attack together. There's not really a whole lot to be said to this. There's diplomacy, but nothing a new or freshly returning player really needs to know. That's more lease style stuff. So we're going to go and gloss over the alliances real quick. We talked about House XP Prestige, and one thing I do want to bring up is doing these missions, specifically the 5 battles, the victory and everything, give you honor. Pardon me. And honor is going to be a major roadblock to your progression. So the more honor you can get, the better. Another thing I want to bring up again and reinforce is that Fief quests can give a ridiculous amount of honor. So this is not the best example, but 250 for just bringing some Limonite over. So if I were to take the time to load this up on my wagon, bring it over, turn it in, I get 250 honor, my house gets 140 XP, and we get 7 prestige for making war on other people. Now, if we were to own Vashegi, which we don't, Unbroken does, Unbroken currently owns this, if they were to do this quest, their members would get a bonus 65 honor, a bonus 125 honor for this quest, and 7 bonus prestige. Quick note, see the total progress right here where my cursor is? That is the amount of times it can be completed this week. So only 250 of this quest will be accepted. Thus far, 158 have been done by everyone. Okay, so that goes ahead and covers the benefits of all the dailies, the weeklies, and the like. Let's see. So next, let's go ahead and touch on weapons. So if you're just returning to the game, you likely have not seen the Maul class, or maybe it just came out when you were last playing. But let's go ahead and take a look at all the classes in the game and kind of give you an idea of what they're about. Okay, so with the short sword, this guy is just about tanking. He has great CC, great survivability with his ability called Iron Sights. He basically becomes unkillable for 8 seconds. That's just the way I look at it. Then you have Thunderstruck. Their ultimate is great for just knocking down shield walls, stopping cav charges. A really all-around utility character. Doesn't do a whole lot of damage, but they are invaluable to have on your team, and they are tanks. Next up, we have the Glaive, which is obviously a polearm weapon here. It has high damage, very high CC, and honestly, some of the best mobility in the game for a heavy class. They are truly a fantastic class if you like to be up in people's faces, CCing, doing damage. It is a very hard class to master, but the payoff is worth it. The recommended ult here is Flying Reaper. The other one doesn't even compare. So, fantastic class. On to a less fantastic class, the Longbow. This used to be bread and butter. A lot of people played it. Unfortunately, my com nuked it into the ground about a season ago, and it just hasn't been the same since. You can still be productive as a longbow. It's still a good class for denying areas, sustain damage, and harassing the enemy team, but it's not fantastic. You're not going to be MVP every game because of it. I believe here, I could be wrong, so take this with a grain of salt. Most people I know still run Exploding Arrow. That was the main part that got nerfed. I obviously don't play longbow. I think I've equipped it once. I played it for one game, went, not my thing. Very slow gameplay, but some people love that. Allows you to focus more on your troop control. Moving up to Dual Blades, another class I personally don't have a lot of expertise in, but I've gotten stabbed by plenty of them. This is the assassin class of the game. It has invisibility, bleed effects, movement speed. The recommended ult here would be Dance of Death, where you just go around them. Or is that the right one? No, it would be Marked for Death. This is the cinematic kill where the enemy just has to sit there and take it. It can be quite brutal to be on the receiving end of it. It's a fun class. It's great for people who love mobility and just the assassin type of gameplay. It's also very good for basically any type of gameplay. Very high skill cap. If you get caught out on this, you're going to get punished. You're going to die. It's a very hard class to master, but the payoff is great. Onward to one of the best classes, in my opinion, the Musket. This Musket is a team-built class. It doesn't do that much by itself, but in the right hands, it can synergize with the team. The supported ultimate here, I believe, would be the Black Powder Grenade. That throws a grenade, as you see in the cinematic there, knocks everyone down, allows you to cav charge through an area, stop a progression of the enemy, CC a large group of enemies from relative safety. They also have fire grenades. They have caltrops, a shotgun effect. Really an all-around great class for team play. They can also be deadly if they get up behind you and just blast you in the back, but that's a different style of play I'm not too familiar with myself, but I know they are great for team play. Onward to the second bow class, the short bow, another class I don't really play. It's a fantastic harass class. It's very mobile, very good for denying area. Let's see. If I recall, the ultimate that most people run would be the Wrath of Artemis. And that's with a grain of salt. I profess no great knowledge of this class, but that's one I would go for. This is a great harass class. It's more mobile than the longbow. Has a little bit less damage, but more CC. So it's a bit of a trade-off, less accuracy, less range. The longbow can really take care of packs of archers. This one struggles with it at a distance. Another up to the Nodachi, a class I am personally way more familiar with. This is a wonderful class. Obviously appeals to a certain market. It's got long reach. It has wonderful lifesteal. It has its own actual metric and ability for building bloodlust. So as you swing, you get more and more lifesteal and more damage. It's a great class. Just feels good to play. It's really fun. There are a couple abilities which I would say you would have to run for this to be viable. The first is going to be Bloodthirsty. It's basically just a stab. If you get knocked down, you press Bloodthirsty, you knock them down. It's a great time. The recommended ult here is Dragon's Leap. You just charge up and, well, yeet yourself at the enemy. It can break shield walls, it can do massive damage, and the sword sweeps a good distance. So definitely the ult you want to go with. Onward to the poleaxe, another weapon I don't really play. The go-to ult here is Rough Justice. It's just like the dual blade, just CC someone, they can't do anything about it, and they just have to accept your pain. It's definitely a class that is about CC and stun locking other heroes. It also does have the heavy armor bonus on it, so it can survive quite a beating. It's not great for troop clear, but handling other heroes, it just shuts people down. Onward to the support class of the game, the Longsword. The Longsword here does, I mean, honestly, not that much damage, but it does have a heal effect that heals you and every allied troop and hero around you. It's not that much. It's 10% of your health and 2% for everyone else per second for 10 seconds. So 20%. It's not that bad. Actually, I believe I misspoke there. It just heals some. It doesn't say how much anymore. The go-to ult that most longswords run is Clash of Shields. You just charge and knock over all the enemies. It's a great synergistic ult. Doesn't do any damage, really. It doesn't do any damage. But the ability to run and just make contact with 20 to 30 troops, knocking them all down to make the way for a cav charge or a push, or your teammates can be very valuable in territory wars, pre-mades, and ranked battles. I personally prefer Sally Forth when I'm playing solo. It's basically the damage of the class. It's got some strong CC and just slaps them around, but overall, a great class if you love support and just troop play. Onward to the Spear, arguably one of the hardest classes to master. The go-to ult here is Dragon's Roar. It's the highest damage. That's why people use it, and it breaks armor damage. So what they're here for. They're a very mobile class. Everyone I know runs the Spear Kick here because it's funny for one, and for two, it's a ranged attack with a spear and very useful. Honestly, I couldn't tell you much about this class aside from it's a very hard class to master, but very rewarding. A lot of people just love the playstyle. It doesn't have the best troop clear in the game, but not the worst either. It probably has more hero damage than the Nodachi does, but less troop clear than the Nodachi does, so there's a trade-off there. And finally, we come to the OP class of the month, the flavor of the month, if you will, called the Maul. Now, the Maul isn't leveled by using it. That will have to refer back to our season challenges. So let's refer back to unit challenge. I believe it was season 3. Yep. If you see here, you'll have to come in here and either give them some money or spend some time doing some missions. That's how you unlock all your abilities and all that good stuff. That's how you just unlock everything for them all. So if you're a new player and you just want to get straight into the game, you can cough up $20 and do that and have every skill for them all, whatever it costs. I think it's about 20. There's this one you have to do, and then Paragon 1 and Paragon 2. I currently play the Maul most of the time. I have been trying out Glaive, getting ready for the Maul nerf, as one day it will happen to us all. The recommended, I hate to say it, the recommended ult for this is Strike and Grapple. You basically just pick someone up, you carry them like 30 feet away and throw them into pikes or your blob of units and they just die. It's really unfortunate to be on the receiving end of this. It just feels bad. The alternative one is Forge of War. Some of my mates really swear by it. You see, it's a big wind up, big smack. It's viable, but the build for this generally is Ukko's Doom. I just bop someone on the head. Mighty Mjolnir, you just run up, and if you combo Mighty Mjolnir, which basically just shoulder charge, into Bonebreaker, Bonebreaker just instantly casts and hits 3 times and kills a bunch of units. Very, very easy class to play at a moderate level, but be warned, Maul is excessively easy to counter. Your job is to kill troops and cheesily grab heroes and throw them elsewhere, off walls or into units. People will focus you, and you are very easy to counter because it's a low skill class. People can just counter you with like glaives. Short bows will target you. You can be staggered a lot of the time, and you're usually just waiting for cooldowns. So take that class with a grain of salt. It's not super fun, but it is a strong class in Season 5. We don't expect any nerfs in Season 5 to it. Maybe in Season 6 we can hope for a rework. Okay, I'm going to go back to Season 5 here. Alright, so the next thing I want to go ahead and cover is the armor classes. This is related to classes of weapons. So, go ahead and pull this back up. Let's talk about the 3 types of armor in this game. Let's head over to the smith to do that real quick, because I don't think I have any in my inventory. No, I do not. So let's go talk to the smith, and we'll take a look at all this. Do you just sell weapons and armor? Who sells the weapons and armor? It must be you. Perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and just buy a set of light. Boom. Boom. This is medium. And I already have heavy on. Okay. So how this works is each weapon has a set armor type. They can use up to that armor, but not past it. So heading over to the hero weapon types, short sword is heavy armor. So the following will be heavy armor: short sword, glaive, poleaxe, longsword, and maul. Those can all use heavy armor or below. So you could be in medium armor in a maul or a glaive, or up to heavy. And you should always choose the highest grade of armor you can wear. There is no movement speed detriment, so just wear the best you can wear. That's my recommendation. So if you're short sword, wear heavy armor. Your glaive, wear heavy armor. Onward to the medium armor classes. This includes the musket, the nodachi, and the spear. Those can use medium or light armor. That's going to be your Carnifex set. Just wear the armor that you can for the class. They can't wear heavy, but they could wear light. And finally, for the light class, we have the remaining bow, dual blades, and short bow. They can only wear light armor. So a common thing to do is to pick 2 classes you like that wear the same armor, and just stick to that. So I wear heavy, so I off-spec into burner. Sorry, not burner, into glaive, which is another class. Or you can also see I carry some long swords with me, just in case I feel I need to play a long sword for a territory war or a match-made battle. I can switch that without popping my armor. But per se, if I were to attempt to switch to a... I don't think I own... Yeah, here's a Nodachi I have. If I were to attempt to equip this Nodachi, it's going to say unable to use this item. To fix that, you just swap into medium armor for the Nodachi. And you just... Oh, did I not unequip something? But yeah, my boots. But anyway, you swap to the medium armor, and you can throw it on. Same with light armor. You have to wear light or below, which there's... You get the idea. Pretty simple stuff there. Moving on to... we've talked about Fief quests already. Let's talk about units. Units that are worth getting. So we're going to start with beginning units. Let's say you're fresh into the game. Returning players, bear with me. I'll get what units are worth using in a moment. Let's talk about great beginner units. So from the honor lines here, this is what we call the honor lines. The following units are fantastic and relatively easy to get to. The Halberdiers, wonderful unit. Let's take a look at them. They are just very good at bracing, holding down a point. You put them in F2. They brace. They kill a bunch of stuff. Wonderful unit. Doesn't require a lot of big brain energy to do well with halberds. Very cheap unit. I think they're only 1,000 something bronze. Wonderful unit for their cost. Up next would be the Pike Militia, another bracing unit. They got nerfed in Season 5, so they're not as great as they used to be, but they are cheap. And I'm talking cheap, like 600 bronze if I recall. Cheap stuff, great unit, can still score some hits. They're only good when they're bracing, obviously. They're pikes. And they're a unit I will add an addendum on. You need to elite them for them to be good. Until they get the bracing stun unit down the veterancy tree, garbage. Okay, so let's go ahead and touch on veterancies real quick before we continue. Veterancies here. Whenever you level up a unit, it gains a little bit more HP and some other stats. And then you can go ahead and spend a veterancy point. Generally, there is an accepted best path to take. That'll vary on your personal opinion and the meta of the season. For example, as I just told you, you max the middle line on this. That's how everyone builds them. The other ways are trash. So, onward to the next great unit for a budget is the Iron Cap Swordsman. These guys are just legendary in how cost effective they are. They charge on stun when they're elated. They can do a lot of damage. They can still wipe out full legendary geared heroes. And they're cheap. This is another budget unit early in the game. It's going to perform fantastically at low-level combat. And I still find myself bringing them into high-level war bands. Because, you know, when you're saving some bronze or just want to have a good time, they still provide that. So, onward to the next great unit. I have a hard time recommending Iron Cap Spearmen. Yeah, they're better, but they don't have a great formation. It can be useful for territory wars. They're basically just a big tower shield boy. Not fantastic, but your house may require you to have these if you're a low-level player. So keep that in mind. Javelins, not really great until you get to the higher level ones. So that concludes the beginning units for the melee line. Ranged, honestly, the only ones I would recommend in here for beginning players are going to be Demens Arquebusiers, if you like, Domain, I believe it is, if you like guns. They're great free fire, they're cheap, 200 leadership, pretty solid unit. Not much to say about them, they shoot, they're pretty cheap, that's all I really got there. Aside from that, fire archers are okay, especially in lower level matchmaking. These guys can reap absolute havoc as they just light people on fire. Doesn't work well against higher tier units, but low tier units, they're beautiful to fight. So, also another cheap and easy unit to get a hold of. Moving on to Cav, don't touch Cav. If you're a new player, all this is trash. Everything until Golden Era is trash. These are really good units. Everything before it is garbage. So until you have honor to throw at this line, forget it even exists, okay? Just forget about it. Once you have some basic staple units, or if you're super into Cav and that's what you're here to do, go ahead and start throwing honor, but until you get to these Golden Era, just don't expect much. Moving on to the Chivalric. These are the Western-themed units. Really popular with here people in the States. So we have the Domain Spearmen. We have Squires. These are a good budget unit. They're what we call a brawling unit. So they have a decent charge attack, but they're also kind of beefy. So they can kind of charge in and then just trade blows with most units. They're not super good, but they're pretty beefy. They'll buy some time on a point. They'll get some kills. They're great for flanks, but don't expect too much out of them. They're not super cost effective, but if you live in Ungavera, one of the regions, you'll get their kits all the time for Fief quests, so might be worth considering. After that, another bread and butter unit that everyone should get ASAP are the Spear Sergeants. These things are wonderful for new players. They can counter low tier Cav, they can make a threat to high tier Cav. In addition to that, they're great for PvE. I just got them silver for selling something. They can clear mobs really easily. They're fantastic beginner units. To highlight this unit, they have a stun when they're braced, so anyone that runs by their sticks will just get stunned. They have a cover commander, which means they follow you, kind of blob on you. They're fantastic units. I can't overstate the value of this unit here. Okay, moving on to Ratans. Don't touch these. They're all bad. Rattan round shields, some people swear by them. They're the fastest moving infantry in the game, but to me that just means they can run away faster, because that's all they're good for. But they are excessively cheap to build. And if you're really into flank attacks, or you just like how they look and how they play, go for it. But I don't consider them a top tier unit. Some people swear by them, so I'm giving them an honorable mention. I've never had good experiences with them. Never had myself smoked by them. Never performed well with them. Onward to another unit that is an honorable mention here are the Rattan Marksmen. These are repeating crossbows. They actually get poison, I believe, and or burning, which is useful. It's kind of like the fire archers. It'll be useful against lower tier units or cavalry that isn't fire resistant, but by no means are they fantastic. I would go with the fire archers over them any day of the week. Alright, now there are a few more units to go over that are necessary for beginners. Unfortunately, they are found in the previous seasons. So you'll have to come up here and switch over here and do a couple challenges. The only one that is completely necessary for new players are the Nomcon archers. These are the best archers in the game, full stop, period. That it is the best unit for archers. Longbows have longer range, but these guys do true damage with bleed. Yeah, they're just fantastic. Beautiful creatures. Get them as soon as possible. You will not regret it. Onward to Season 3's units. The units here that are must-have for brand new players are the Conditory Guards. These guys are fantastic at charging, and they have a shield bash ability, which pushes enemies back and concusses them, which is a fancy my.com way to say stun somebody. They can push through enemy units, they have high damage, they do blunt damage with their shields to get past plate armor. Fantastic units, great units. Once again, bread and butter, everyone should get these. You can just buy them with money, or you can try and earn them and pay off what you can't, or just throw money at it. Your choice, they're not too hard to unlock, so it will take maybe a few days to work that out. And then for the next season, Season 4, Janissaries are better than the Domain Arquebusiers I mentioned. They are heavy gunmen. They can't really aim up or down, but they can daze on shot. They're really accurate. If you're looking for a gun unit out the box that's going to be good, it's going to be the Janissaries. I think they're even cheaper than the Domain, but I don't really have to rekit them. I have a bunch of their kits, so I don't have the price on hand, but great unit. Once again, do the missions, buy it off, up to you. Not that hard. Nothing in here else is really new player friendly. And then Season 5, as I mentioned earlier in the video, we don't talk about those. Those are bad. They just need a rework. They need to be scrubbed from this game. Unlock them on the way to the higher tier units. Don't worry about them. Don't even build them. Because their damage is trash. They only get 2 tosses. Bad unit. Anyway, so that goes ahead and let me verify that I covered all the units I wanted to for beginning units. Now we are going to go ahead and move into more advanced units. I call this mid to high tier units. This is more aimed to beginner players who want to know where to go on their trees, and returning players who kind of want to get back into the meta. So starting in the same way, we're going to go a little bit quicker because returning players should know a little bit more. So Imperial Pike Guards, wonderful. They have an advance here that just kills everything in their path. They can counter cav. I think it shows it in the video. Let's see. No, of course it doesn't. They basically just slow march forward and stun everything, knock everything down. Fantastic for countering incoming cav charges. Fantastic for killing melee. But after they do that, they're kind of just like a one-trick pony, and they're on cooldown for like 40 more seconds. So no worries there. But definitely need this for Territory War. Your leaders will be asking you. This Archon already puts a high priority on Imperial Pike Guards. Moving on to the next unit that you need to have, Iron Reapers. We'll get back to them. They're okay. They're not fantastic. Imperial Spear Guards. This is another bread and butter unit for Territory Wars for mid-tier players. This one is fantastic for holding points, soaking range damage, and the like. They will die to Golden Era Cav like they were never there. They will just get washed over. But for soaking range damage, fantastic unit. For holding a point, fantastic. Not great brawlers, unfortunately. Do have a self-heal. The Veterancy line here would be the bottom one, I believe. Yeah, for the self-heal. Anyway, aside from that, of the 2 Javelins, if you were going to go for Javelins, which are more skirmishing units, I have a hard time with this recommendation. If I had to choose, I would say Imperial Javelineers. They are better at killing heroes. Like, in a Territory War, guy comes around the corner, you click the button, he's dead. Doesn't matter if he's hiding behind a wall. Well, if his troops, mind you, they don't go through walls, but shield walls they do, and we'll kill him. Javelin Sergeants, however, are fantastic at killing units. They're not great for heroes, but in my opinion, Imperial Javelins are superior. We'll go to ranged here. Let's talk about the Vassal Longbowmen. These units are definitely great for countering other archers, and specialty units like a Falconetti Gunner, which is basically just a cannon squad. They're great for picking things off. They have great AI. I mean, they're a longbowman. They're exactly what you would expect them to be. Aside from that, we give a miss to the Imperial Archers. We also give a miss to the Kriegstadt Fusiliers. Not a great unit. Tertios also get a miss. They're not worth it. Not unless you have so much honor just to spend on them. Now we're coming to the gun line that I consider the high-tier gun line. The Imperial Arquebusiers. These guys have an ability called Fire by Rank. See if I can find it. Volley Fire. Sorry. Volley Fire will just basically make them line up and do continuous fire. They'll fire, line 1, line 2, line 3. They have really good damage, sustained accuracy, really fantastic unit. I personally with the bottom line. Some people go the top line. It just depends. But they become very, very cost effective and lethal when you max out their honor upgrades. Definitely get this unit if you like guns or if your house is in need of more ranged support during territory war. On to cavalry. Once again, mid-tier. Forget all of this. They don't matter. Yeoman, Prefecture Heavy Cav, Dagger Axe are trash. If you're a returning player or really looking into getting to Cav, the only one on this chart you want is the Winged Hussar. Everything else, garbage. There's an honorable mention here for Fire Lancers because they have some uses. But that's, you should get the bread and butter first and then worry about the side options. So, moving on to Chivalric. Monastic Knights are a very beefy cavalry unit. They have a lot of plate armor. They're pretty good. They're also the easiest Golden Era cav to get. So, they will get the job done charging down a lane, but there are better options. But if you're just looking to get access to Golden Era cav for your house, for your cav squads, or to really enjoy the cavalry style of this game, pick up MKs. They're pretty cheap. They don't really have a lot of prerequisites, aside from what you'll already be grabbing. So let's go back to Winged Hussars. Let me go ahead and give you an explanation of why these guys are better than MKs. It's simply for one thing. It is called War Lances. They have longer lances than any other cavalry, so they can hit things before they get hit. And that's reinforced. And as silly as that sounds, it's reinforced on the bottom line called Spear Parry. So if they charge, nothing can interrupt their charge. Not bullets, not crossbows, not a section of pointy sticks. So they will complete their charge. They may still die, but they will at least make contact. Other cav will get spooked or stop their charge, and they won't do their charge damage. So, solid unit. Ratans, onto this line. Ratan Rangers are fantastic at only one thing these days. Fielding. They are great for harassing people in territory wars, ganking people in the open world, or doing match-made field battles. That's their only goal, and they do that very well. You can just circle around the heavier cav and kill them. Super efficient unit for that, but don't bring it anywhere else. For this, the biggest thing you need on these units is the charge, so you can do a flank attack and wipe them out. So, wipe out their archers and their squishies in the back. Great unit. Used to be the most OP unit we've ever seen. So, still a good unit. I wouldn't prioritize it. But if you're a cav stack player or someone who really loves, the whole Mongol theme of everything, great pick for them. Great pick. Now let's go ahead and go over the units from the seasons for mid to high tier. The only thing in here that matters from mid to high tier are the Keshigs. Currently the best cavalry in the game. These guys are ridiculous. They do an obscene amount of damage, have an obscene amount of health, and they get to charge twice. So you send the charge, and I should show here in the video that they will then pivot at the end of that charge. Let's see how they're all, wait for it, maybe. Oh, it doesn't show it. Anyway, so they pivot, and then they come back to you, which means if you throw them at your 12 o'clock, and then you rotate to the right, they will turn and come towards you on the return charge. They get charge in and a charge out. They're fantastic at meleeing things, and they're great for charging. They have a high amount of health. Fantastic units. They are now also fire resistant for some reason. They weren't last season, but they decided the Keshigs, they just weren't strong enough. Let's buff them again. My calm for you. Alright, so on to Season 3. The high tier units, you're going to want both of these at some point. Falconetti Gunners are basically just cannons. That's all they are. They're a team of cannons. They can knock down shield walls. They can break towers super quick. I mean, they're useful for territory wars. I wouldn't recommend them in match made unless you're trying to level them. They don't do great. They get focused down because they're super vulnerable, but they're invaluable in certain territory wars. consult your house leadership, or if you're an Archon, if you want to go this route and you like the idea of artillery, get a hold of one of our squad captains or myself, and we'll take a look to see if we have an opening for them. They are expensive to run. Now on to the Fief crossbowmen, the only crossbowmen in this game that matter. They have a big shield, they can fire over it, they have bolts that go through armor. It's a quite useful unit. They also have blunt bolts that you can toggle on that go through plate armor very well. Fantastic unit, good for, sustained damage. They can fight on points for 7 minutes of sustained fire, roughly. That's like 5 minutes, I think, sustained fire, without need to rotate to a supply point for ammunition. Fantastic unit, I run them all the time. I really can't overstate how good they are at countering most cavalry. They'll counter Keshigs, they will counter anything but winged hussars they'll interrupt a charge on. So, great unit. They can also drop their shield and fire the crossbow over it. It gives them some type of block versus other ranged units. So, good unit. Moving on to Season 4. These are units, the Azaps, I find them fantastic. Unfortunately, I still haven't finished them. I need to go back. These are great melee units. They have 2 abilities on them. One of them is called Counter-Strike. It's basically just gonna block everything that comes in and gonna bop the guys back. It's great for, as I said earlier in the video, brawling. These guys will trade blows with basically anything when Counter-Strike is on. Then you have their burst DPS, which is called On Watch, which just basically, instead of slashing once, they slash like twice. It's useful. Generally, you charge in. Once they make contact, hit Counter-Strike to absorb the enemy's hits. You finish up with On Watch. Fantastic units. Still see them in Territory Wars, and they're great in matchmaking. I personally go with the top line for the extra Counter-Strike, because I really believe that's their best thing about them. So, next we have a unit I haven't unlocked, the Silidars. Don't really see a lot of these. They're basically Iron Reapers 2.0. They give up Iron Reaper's charge to do brawling better. So if you're more into the burst damage of the Iron Reaper to counter shield walls, Iron Reaper's better. If you want the best brawling unit in the game, that's probably going to be the Silidars. Great armor, they can ignore some ranged attacks occasionally. Great unit. Unfortunately, my knowledge there, I apologize, is a bit limited. And then we have an interesting piece of cavalry. The Cyphus? I don't know how to say this. The Mace Boys. What they do is they just bop people, for lack of a better term. They jump around, they trample. They're a melee cavalry that doesn't need to charge in to really do a lot of damage. They have what's called Crepad, which should just be called Trample in my opinion. So you could charge in, and then once they're in the middle of the enemy unit, you hit Crepad, they'll stomp around on their horses, smack things with their maces. They're quite good at killing things. But they are, obviously still susceptible to all the cav in the game. They don't have a great charge, but they can... It's like a quick response melee unit is what I would call them. So if you're a part of a QRF for your defense force, these might actually be a solid choice for defending breaches, especially with the new breaches added this season. Okay, and that brings us to our last season. So for mid to high tier players, these aren't out yet, so I'm going to reserve my judgings on them, but I have seen videos where they are very overpowered and they melt things. Even things that are supposed to be fire resistant, so keep their eyes out. They may be a unit worth gunning for. Okay, so these. Stalwarts are a rework of the Spear Sergeants. Fantastic. I'm not going to get into too much on them. They're a more aggressive version. They're great for that. They can push. They lose cover commander, but very good. I would recommend if you're a new player, build 2 Spear Sergeants. Build Spear Sergeants you unlock, and build Stalwarts. You can only bring 1 of 2 into the battle, but then you have choices. They're both still really great units. Onward to the Paladins. Right now, these aren't worth using. They're decent units. They have an ability that's supposed to give them the ability to heal everything around them, all their allies. That currently does not heal allies. So as of this review and this guide, I don't get them. Unlock them, get in preparation. They're better than Men-at-Arms, most likely. But they're still not good right now. So hold off on that. Don't worry about it too much. A side note, on the seasons, you can only progress on 1 at a time. I believe it gives you a warning. So just keep that in mind when we're moving about. Alright, so that did take up a large amount of time there. But we have talked about the units for beginners, returning players, and we've talked and brushed up on the ones that are super valuable in war. Let's talk about war here. So Territory Wars. occur at 8:30 on Tuesdays and Saturdays EST. So keep in mind, if you're in Arizona or anywhere that ignores daylight savings time, that did change for you. So how this works is at those times, in the first 30 minutes, you can attack these little nodes, and then secure the ability to attack a village, yada yada. But once 9 o'clock EST rolls around, all heck breaks loose, and you can just start attacking things. And how that works is, like, say I were to attack Vaja, which we did last war, and Wars wiped us, no shame. They got those golden era. But, so Vaja, we attacked, we took it, and then when they came back and they wiped out our allies there, United, that got wiped. But with territory wars, there are two distinct things. First of all, you need to move there and get there. You have to walk there on the open world map to participate, obviously. And secondly, in addition to that, you also have to worry about being killed in the battle. So in match-made battles, say in siege battles, field battles, even expeditions, if you die, you simply respawn and pick a new unit. That's all that happens. If you die in a territory war match, you are booted and ejected from the battle and given a 3-minute cooldown. Your units also take damage to the amount of them that are alive, and unit kit damage, which you can repair. But anyway, so back to the main thing is you will be kicked out of the battle upon death. Your units will despawn within 7 seconds. Very different than matchmaking. And then you'll have to go heal your units, either at where you're fighting or somewhere else, depending on what you own in the area. And then you can come back in and rejoin the queue. There are 15 versus 15 for every city, fort, and village battle. They'll have different maps. Every city in the region generally has the same map, but they have a couple variants. Anyway, so 15v15, and multiple people can get in the queue on attackers and defenders, and spectate, basically. In addition to that, I'm going to cover the new changes coming to, what's it called? Leading house? I don't know. The term when you have the most prestige in there. So when you're attacking an area, you can lock it's only your house can attack it. That's a change coming, I believe, in either this patch or the next. So that's something more high level you don't really need to worry about as a fresh returning player, unless you're starting your own house. But basically the major difference, if you die, you get ejected. You have to go heal your people. Then you come back in. Super simple. Same if you die in the open world, by the way. You get that 3-minute cooldown. Okay, the other thing to note here is that house leaders can build field camps for you to be able to heal locally. Say, I'm attacking Vaja, I can put a field camp right where my cursor is, and then my guys could heal there and go rejoin the fight, rather than having to walk all the way back to Varos. Anyway, that is basically how war works. You claim land. When you own the city, you can set the taxes here for what's gathered. Let's go look at, like, Salanta. The owning house here, I believe, is Unbroken. They've set the resource gathering tax at 10% for friendlies, 30% for neutral if you're hostile with them, at 500%. We're currently flagged. We should be flagged hostile. That doesn't seem to be working. Interesting. So it looks like the taxes aren't working properly. Let me take a look at that again. Yeah, so the taxes don't seem to be working because we're hostile with them, but we're not getting 500%. Bit of concern. Either way, so basically allows you to raise taxes, and that will turn into silver, and rewards for holding a fief, like this here, boxes of kits, artillery, mercenary attire chest, all this good garbage, gets disseminated at the end on Sunday after the Saturday Territory War. Those are disseminated to all members of the owning house. Everyone gets a cut based on prestige earned in the week and unknown metrics they've never told us, so you get a cut, G. In addition to that, you will also get influence. We don't currently have any because we got rocked last war, but things get better. You can click here, you get to rank, and you'll get influence depending on what you own. You'll get some titles to hand out to your people. They give small things like extra doctrines or a little bit of bronze, 30k here, 40k there. But it's also just a way to reward your most active players. It's kind of a cool system, but not super important. Click that out. Okay, so we've covered war. We've covered our units, our builds. We've covered how war works and why it's important. Let's talk about crafting. Crafting is a very divisive thing in this game. There's two types of crafting. There's hero crafting, which I will show you right now. Come over to the smith, create armor and weapons. Go to the thing you want to make. Let's say I want to make a musket. If I had schematics, I'd click on that. Otherwise, you just come here. You have the things. You click craft. It's super easy. Super easy, right? Now let's talk about unit kits. Unit kits are crafted very differently. Let's see. Let's cycle back to that real quick. Sorry about that. I kind of glossed over something. Just a little important. How to get the things to craft items. These things like steel bars, wire and thread, metal rings, etc. you get from breaking down other pieces of gear for hero gear. Like if you get a drop from a match and it's garbage, or you don't want to sell it to anyone, you just come over to the smith. See, I have some of those that I just bought. I can show you. And you'll salvage them. You throw this item in. No, I don't want to join a group. And you just break this down, and voila, crafting materials, right? Fantastic. Alright. In addition to that, over here, if you need powdered silver for the higher tier crafts, come over here, you buy a bunch of shielded chevrons, you rip them apart, and get crafting materials. Easy life. Now, about player crafted items. This is where it gets a little bit more in depth. When you craft things, they have a chance to roll stats on them. So let's talk about where you get the schematics first. You very rarely get them from matches. You get them from your paths. At set times, you get like an armor or weapon schematic. But the majority you're going to get are going to be found in the seasonal store. You'll get these hero tokens from leveling up in the battle pass, even if you're a free player. So you'll get them at, you'll get a little bit less, but you'll still get plenty for what the main stuff is. Come to the seasonal store, page 2. You can buy rare weapon schematics and rare armor schematics. That's really, one second. Cool. Normally I'd help them, but unfortunately I cannot. Okay, so for example, my Earth Shaker here you see popped up, I crafted that. So it rolled an extra 176 blunt, 7 strength, 9 agility. Just RNG crafting. Unfortunately, you can't really craft what you want. You can choose like what it is, but you can't choose what it rolls. For example, my Guardsman rolled leadership, which in my opinion is the best thing to roll, is the bonus leadership. That helps you bring higher tier and more units into battle. But that's a different topic. So you get the schematics, you build the thing you want, you use the thing you build. Let's talk about repairing armor and weapons. This is a pain point for me as someone who really enjoys helping new players. People will go after every game and they'll come click and they'll hit repair on their gear. Every time, let's see if I'll bang this up for you guys. So see how it says 41 out of 128? If I click it and repair it, now my maximum durability, the endurance of the item, is 107. I can only repair it so many times until it is broken permanently. So what you do is you run it into the ground until you get a yellow warning, kind of Diablo style on the other side, telling your crap's going to break. You come over the armor, go to reconditioning. You'll put the item in, say I want to recondition my my Nodachi here. It'll tell me I need all these things plus the schematic. And then it will remake it. I don't really want to re-roll it right now. Let's see if there's anything else in here I can do. Ah, perfect. You see this? So we're going to recondition this. And it's going to roll a new version. See how it rolled a new version here? I can choose to keep the old version or the new version. Make your choice. I'll say I wanted this, I click choose this because, you know, maybe I consider that one better. Because it was. And look, now I have a green redo. Yay. Easy stuff. Easy stuff. So yeah, basically just get your armor, keep crafting. Powdered silver you'll get from breaking down the shield chamferons or gear that you don't need. Now onward to unit kits. This is where my advice is going to be different than that of other content creators. Do not build unit kits. It is not worth it. So when you build unit kits, you have to run out into the world and gather materials. So let's unit armor. Here he is. Let's say I wanted to make some. Say I want to make some Janissary kits. I would need planed wood, improved copper, and treated leather, which will require me to go out and gather copper, iron, leather, and wood. Because you end up needing what's called exotics. So to make, let's say, it wanted blue leather. It wants shellac that you get from cutting timber, plus sheepskin or other types of hides. It doesn't really matter which one you use. For the wood, I would need sinew from gathering from, obviously, that. And then wood to turn it into planed wood. You get the idea. You refine it into a higher tier of wood, a higher tier of leather. And then you take all that and you craft that into a unit kit. Sounds fantastic. Until you realize this. Every time I want to craft one of these, it costs silver. Silver is the player currency. This is how you trade things and buy things on the market, like artillery or unit schematic, or weapon schematics, armor schematics, mercenary units. Very hard to get silver. Bronze, you can just keep playing the game. As long as you're doing well in matches, you'll always get more bronze than you spend. So you'll be spending silver on that. So let's see how much making a Janissary kit would cost me. So back to Season 4 units. So we have 35, because it's 5 silver per craft of the copper, 70, and about 105 total silver, plus 50. So I end up spending 155 silver for a Janissary kit, which is not bad. So I can spend 155 silver, plus all the time to go gather the resources, the time to refine them, the time to do this and that, and then I spend 155 silver at the end. Bear in mind, gathering costs bronze. So I often find it better just to pay for the unit kit with bronze, which you will do from your barracks when they get banged up. Which I usually keep mine all topped up out of habit. Say I had a guy with a missing unit kit, which I don't. There'd be a button here that said plus, and then it would say, hey, this costs bronze. Do you want to use house funds? Do you want to use kits in storage? Or do you want to pay for it yourself? Click the option. Now, there is a use for gathering in the open world. Let me respond to my mate here. Battle with no leadership cap. Okay. Alright, so talking about uses for gathering, because there is a huge use in this game. Artillery, which is not great in total for us. We can't make a bunch here. But you go out and you gather and you refine it and you spend the silver just like you would for unit kits. But you get something unique that you can't just spend bronze for. Well, this is not the best example. These are all greens. But say I wanted to go out and make cannons. I would go out and gather all the resources, refine them into blues, and then build a blue cannon at the appropriate fief. Each fief has something they can produce, like Vaja there produces like kits. Let me find the one that shoots a cannon. Avaros there. If we owned Avaros, or it was open to the public, which it probably is. Yeah, it's open to the public. I could walk there with the resources and build a Scorpio. Or I could walk there and build a Scorpio there, or Taborivar. Doesn't seem to produce anything, but you get the idea. You look around and you should be able to see what each place produces, like different types of kits, different seeds. There are a couple like high priority fiefs like Regionopolis here that can make everything in the game, including epic artillery. You don't really need epic and blue artillery for matchmaking, but territory wars, it's going to be a major concession. That's something you need. For example, tell you how much you need it. I've been playing this game for a while. One of the wisest things you can do is just stock up on obscene amounts of siege weapons, catapults, legendary weapons. These are, the booms. Great for clearing troops and holding down points. So territory war, a must. You will get some free artillery now and then from daily quests, from breaking things in matches. But ultimately, for the most part, don't waste your purple and blue unless you have an obscene amount. And even then, just craft them. They're great. Really a stickler part of territory war. And what determines a lot of battles is proper artillery production. So if you're going to go out and gather, do it for fief quests. You do it for artillery things, but you don't do it for unit crafting. It just isn't worth it. In my humble opinion, at least. There are some people that can make money on it. They go out, they'll gather, they'll craft this really expensive kit that costs like 15,000 bronze. They'll sell it for 2,000 silver. They produce it at 800 silver, plus some bronze, and then they profit. And you can do that when you're in the higher level, but don't worry when you're just getting back. Okay, so we have gone over crafting kits, gear. Finally, let's pull up to the season store and some interesting points about this season's battle pass. So let's start with the battle pass. We're not going to go super in depth. There are videos from like Zimster. I'll tag him down below, a link to his channel. He goes over the battle pass really well. As you're leveling, you will get hero tokens, which are just the season currency. And if you pay them $10 for the battle pass, you'll get more stuff. Yay. Cosmetics, yada yada. But you will also get a few things for free cosmetically. You'll get a weapon box, which we'll go to in a second if you don't pay them. And I think that's all you really get that's of note for free there. Okay, so the weapon box. So say you really like a weapon. There are some really great skins in here. I'm not going to go over them. If you play Hammer, I think that looks fantastic. I like how the longsword looks. You get one for free, so don't buy it. Don't buy your primary weapon and then end up with a free box later, shooting yourself in the foot. Aside from that, you should buy the following things in this order. The first thing you need to buy is all the weapon schematic boxes. They are hard to get, very hard to get. So buy those first, then the armor schematics, also hard to get. Wonderful. These are for personal crafted weapons. You need to be crafting as often as you can to get the best in slot. Following that, I would pick up the XP cards. Fantastic things if you're a returning player or new. Treatise, I would worry more about new players getting these. Those give you Doctrines, which I'll cover here in just a moment. Powdered silver, I don't think it's necessary to buy it. You can if you're tied on bronze. This allows you to craft blue tier gear, or gold dust allows you to craft purple schematics. In addition to that, personal histories or respecs, always wonderful to have. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and buy them because normally it's a cash shop item. In addition, you can just turn this into bronze. Lastly, the one thing I do want to pull up here is you can buy what's called chalices, which are just tokens that allow you to get some old season's attire that's been reskinned. Like the season 1 attire, you can click on this, you can get some of the old stuff. It's a little rusted up because it's antique now, but ultimately a good thing to look at too if you like cosmetics, which I'm sure everybody likes to look cool in games. So, one last thing I did want to brush up on was Doctrines. I know I just brought it up kind of at the tail end here. But Doctrines allow you to customize your units with various bonuses. You get them from using Treatise. Like, if you look over here, like, my guy does 95 more damage to all units. His brace weapon damage is 12% more. Some of these are unit-specific, some are just general. It'll let you consume them as necessary. You get it by using the X menu. You come in here, today is Infantry Doctrines. So if you have a Treatise, which you get from dailies, from the season store, from your weeklies, you'll get treaties, and you can use those to get things to put on your units. If you get like really good ones, save them for the higher tier units. You'll also randomly get temporary Doctrines that'll just equip to the unit, and you can slot it in if you like. Okay, I've covered everything that I believe new and returning players need to know. Once again, this has been Ignis from Archon Imperium and the Archon Group Gaming Community. We're here on NA. If you're looking for a house, you're coming back, or you're brand new, or if you feel I missed anything, please just let me know in the comments, or hit me up in Discord. I can be found in the community Discord, same name. Just hit me up. Let me know if you have any questions, anything I need to build upon. I understand this is a pretty rough video. It's really just meant for internal here at the Archon Group Gaming, but I'm releasing it to general YouTube. I'm going to promote it a little bit. There's a bunch of new players, basically. See if we can help some people out. We will be in Ungavera for a little while longer. Well, thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you guys all learned something, and we'll see you guys in game.